Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce 𝑘𝑒𝑚atics video session 77. So in today's video, we will actually try to learn a few more functionalities of date which we can do in the recipe side. Okay, so with the recipe part, date has really become very interesting. Okay, I personally love data flow a lot, but honestly, when it comes to the date part, the calculation and all those things, it's becomes relatively easier in the recipe. But yeah, I think you all should be aware of how to do those calculations and how to utilize whatever functionalities we have in recipe, because that might be a little confusing. Okay, now let's say if I want to, for example, I have this close date here, right? Let me search with control F. It becomes too difficult to find sometimes. Close date. Close date. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't show you the complete view. Amazing. This is the close date. Okay, so with the close date, for example, Uh, with the close date, you can see it's 29/10/2031. Okay. Suppose I want to find which is the first day of that month. Okay. So let's say that is the requirement, which is the first day, and eventually we will actually find out a few other things as well. Okay. So there's a function over here called uh date. Let me search. Yeah, date trunk. Okay. So what is this date trunk does? It resets the specified part of the timestamp. Okay. It's written over here. So let's read a little bit of this first. Okay. Let me copy this. Fine, let me copy this and let me first put it in my notepad plus plus. Okay, so let's have a very quick read on this. Okay, then we will try to apply it. Okay, let me show. Okay, okay. So this date trunk, it resets the specified part of the timestamp portions after it to 0 or 01 for date and year. Okay, specify the portion of the timestamp with year, quarter, month, day, hour, or second. For example, if you want for year, okay, you put it as this one returns, it will return you in this manner. Fine. The timestamp it will put as 0. That's fine. Okay. However, it will give you the year. If your data is date and not date time, use the trunk function instead. Okay. So if our data is date and not date time, we can use this trunk function. Okay. So trunk function we have to use for date, fine, and date trunk we can use for date time. Fine. So let's do one thing. So it will be put 0 1 for date and year. Fine. That's fine. So let's do one thing. Let's take created date instead of this one. Okay. So we will take the created date into consideration because created date is our date time. Okay. Trunk will work best for date as it's mentioned over here. Okay. So let me just put this at the top. Fine. And let me put the format as month. Okay. So there are various things we can do over here, right? It's saying month. So let me put at month and let me put the date as close date. Okay. Now for this date trunk, okay, the option will be, I will be selecting, of course, date time. Fine. And let's say I give the format as this one only. That's fine. Okay. Whatever we have for created, that's completely fine. And let me name it as and apply the same thing over here as well. Okay. Let me click on it. Okay. I'm sorry. I think I put for close date. It should be created date actually first. Okay, first date of created date, but I have used close date. Let me go for created date. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Now let me click on apply. Okay, now as you can see, everywhere is showing 181818, right? And if I go to my created date, for example, yeah, see all the ones which are in 18 August, okay, that already got converted into 1/8, okay. At the last, we have something like 15/9, 23/10. So here you will find 19 and 110. Let's completely go to the right. And here you see 110 and 19. So basically, what is this date trunk doing? As it's mentioned over here, let's read it once again. Resets the specified part of the timestamp and all the portions after it to 0. Like the timestamp is 0, as you can see here. Okay. The timestamp is 0. That's completely fine. Fine. And specify the portion of the timestamp with year, month. Okay. So specified part of the timestamp and all the portions after it to 0. So that means, and it will be 0 1 only for date. If it is for date, it will be 0 1. It won't be 0 0 for date, but for timestamp, it will be 0 0 if it is after that. So what I'm doing here, because this created date, it was in the format of year, and DD, right? Okay, so let's shift back to this created date. So in this created date, you see it's YYYMMDD. Now, after MM, it's going to reset, not before MM, okay? Because that's what is mentioned over there. So after MM, you have this day, which is 15, it's resetting to 0 1. That's what is mentioned over here, right? All portions after it to 0, but not 0 0 1 for date, okay? 0 0 for timestamp. So that's why that's what it has done, okay? And that's what you can see over here. That's what we did for created. So this is for first day of created date, okay? Just to get that. Now, if you want to get the last date of created date, okay, how you will get that? Fine. So for that also, we can use this. So we already did this date truncation. Okay, I need this operation to find the last month. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, so let me write it as, okay, and here again, let me put the format as date type. Okay, and let me go for this format. Fine. And let me just put this over here. Fine. Now, which I already got to the first point, right? That is 1st August. That's completely fine. Now, if I put an interval of 1 month, what's going to happen? It's going to give me 1/9, right? 1 September. And if I just subtract 1 day from it, it will give me the last day of the month. You got my point. So out of this 1/8, which is my 1st August, if I go for interval of 1 month, okay. So let me just show you over here. Plus, so there's an interval, okay, interval function. So instead of 1 week, I will give 1 month, right? And let me click on apply. So with this interval of 1 month, what is happening? I'm able to get to 1 September, but I need the last day of it. So it was 1st August. For 1st August, I got to 1st September and I want the last day of it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is after this, I will just write minus of interval. Okay. Instead of 1 week, it will be 1 day. Okay. That's it. That's completely set. Sorry. Plus, yeah. So I'm adding 1 month and it will be subtract, not add, subtract. And if I click on apply, right, you see it's exactly giving me the last day of that month, which is there. Fine. You see how cool it is. Okay. So that's the beauty of this date underscore trunk. Fine. And let me see if on Google, if we search with date underscore trunk, if we get anything. Okay. Date underscore trunk. I think we can maybe look for this one as of now. So if you go to the Salesforce help articles, right? Okay, there's a lot of things which are written over here, like add underscore month, current underscore date. Okay, returns the current date, current timestamp, returns the current date and time. Fine. All this is there. So date underscore it is just is mentioned properly over here. Format you can give. Examples are also given. Okay. And yeah, there are few more months as well, like day of month. Okay. So you can extract in this manner. Fine. So there, this is the article which you can refer. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this date functions for formulas, you can actually read each of them. We have actually utilized a lot. Okay, so you can go and read each of them and actually see like how it's going to help you out. Fine. So there's a lot of functionalities in recipe. Okay, now with this part being done, let's try to understand a few more things. Maybe we can go ahead and try to find for, I mean, the date difference we find out, right, for closed date and created. Maybe we can check and see how we can find for month and for week. Okay, so first of all, let me go to my data flow. Not this one. Where is it? It was sessions. Okay, now over here we found out one date diff. If you remember, we use this function called date diff. Okay, what I'm going to do, you already know that we can also find it for month. Okay, so difference between closed date and created date. Suppose if I add a new field. Now this one, instead of day, I can also find it in terms of month. I think you all know this, right? So I will just write difference between closed date and created date in month. Okay, why is showing this? Okay, this will be and. That's completely fine in month. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here, of course, it will be numeric precision. Maybe I can give it as 10. Scale, I can give it as 0. That's not a big deal. Let me click on save. Okay, and the similar exercise I can also do for week. You already know this. So here I will just copy this part. Okay, just put it here. It will be here in terms of week, of course. Okay, difference between closed date and created in terms of week. So for now, let me mark as numeric. Okay, let me give as 10. Here, let me give as 0. Okay, and let me just copy this portion from here and let me mark it as week. Okay, so here instead of month, I am going to write week. Fine, and let me just save this. Okay, propagate, update. Fine, and let's run this and let's monitor this as well. Okay, okay, as you can see, this ran successfully. Now what I'm going to do is we already had 1 minute, huh? We already had one lens, I remember. Okay, yeah, derive fields from out. This is coming from our data flow, right? Okay, what's the issue? Identify a name. Okay. I think I have to remove everything. Okay, let's see this derive field. Okay, let's check what's the issue. Okay, guys, I have to remove a few fields which I'm not using, but we can keep this for another day. Let's come to this particular derived field data set, okay, which we created from data flow. Let's move to this value table. And very quickly, what I'm going to do is I will actually just disable everything, okay, and just show you what we actually created right now. Fine. So let me deselect everything from here, okay. And now let me just bring that created date. Okay, created it. I won't be having, I got it. So let's do one thing. Okay, here let me just merge it. Fine, I mean, let me just enable that field merge with source. Okay, here I didn't enable this field, that's why it's giving me an error. Let me just enable this merge with source, then it will resolve the issue. Okay, let me update and let me run this data flow. Okay, okay, fine, we will continue over there, not an issue. Okay, let it get run. And because that was disabled, I'm not getting a few fields, so let it get run and we will check in our next session, and I will show you how we can do this on the recipe side. Okay, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.